How did liberalism, which started as a doctrine of freedom from economic and political regulation, become a byword for economic and political regulation? Why does Jeremy Bentham's pleasure principle sound so dirty? And utilitarianism, what a mouthful, right? These and other questions will be answered right after this. I am Professor Jerome Arkenberg, and I've been teaching a wide variety of history courses at colleges across this country for the past 30 years. In this video, I'm going to tell you about how liberalism went from a doctrine of no regulation to a doctrine of many regulations. Jeremy Bentham's pleasure principle, utilitarianism, and reform liberalism. At the end, I'll have the wrap-up quote on this video, so make sure to stick around for that. But first, make sure to click like, share, and especially subscribe, and that little bell thingy, so I can continue to bring you more great videos just like this one. As mercantilist policies gave way to laissez-faire policies, and as industrialization brought societal disruption in its wake, some laissez-faire liberals began to think that some government control of or interference in the economy was desirable. The foundation for this shift of laissez-faire liberals towards some government regulation began with what today we call utilitarianism, which began with the ideas of this man here, Jeremy Bentham. And yes, this is him, more or less. That is a wax head, and the rest of it is his mummified body, which according to his will was mummified like this, and he is on display at the University of London. And for meetings of the Board of Governors, his body is brought forth to sit at the table with them by means of the charter for the university. Anyway, Jeremy Bentham, born 1748, dies 1832, who said that the best of all possible states is that which involves the greatest balance of pleasure over pain, which can only be had through security and not liberty, by providing the greatest happiness for the greatest number. And that is the key term, the key phrase for utilitarianism. The greatest happiness for the greatest number. In practice, this meant that the common good of society should judge what rights are recognized, according to whether they are useful or harmful to society as a whole, no matter if they're useless or destructive for some in society. After all, we regulate how fast, for example, today, cars can go on the streets or the expressway. Yes, that means that some people will be impacted by not being able to go as fast as they please. But everyone accepts for the good of the whole, some regulation is necessary, and the same for many other criminal laws. Bentham's godson, John Stuart Mill, seen here, born in 1806, died in 1873, took Bentham's ideas further, holding that any society's happiness can only be achieved through recognition of liberty, integrity, and human dignity. So the permanent welfare of society is bound up with the rights of the individual. Reform liberalism, evolving from utilitarianism by the end of the 19th century, went further, stating that in order to produce societal harmony and progress, some restrictions or prohibitions were necessary, even on the economy, even if downright harmful to a few, just like many criminal laws are harmful. If you're a psychopath, you love to kill people, you love to torture, you're a sadist, laws preventing you, laws prohibiting that behavior, yes, it will impact your happiness in being able to kill people and enjoy it, or a serial rapist to rape women and enjoy it. But it doesn't matter. Okay, so a few individuals will be impacted negatively, but in order to protect the rights of the many and the pleasure of the many, that's okay. Much of this was due to the work of one of the most important philosophers you've never heard of, Thomas Hill Green, who was born in 1836 and died in 1882, whose work held that people get pleasure by living up to their self-ideal of the goodness they think they share with others. Meaning, people accept even the most onerous social obligations because they think they can realize their self-ideal of goodness and righteousness, that they are a good person, only through their conscientiousness. So the purpose of government is to ensure that people realize their self-ideal by ensuring that living and working conditions are tolerable, that children are adequately educated and protected, that health and welfare is protected and encouraged, and that conditions for moral self-improvement are provided. So, if existing socio-economic institutions and practices hinder the existence or development of these conditions, society, government, or the economy must be reformed to remove these impediments. And if that impacts a few individuals, so be it. So, for example, if it's best to promote the health, the welfare, the tolerable workplace of everyone, and it needs to reform to regulate these working conditions, even if it impacts certain wealthy owners, industrialists, or entrepreneurs. They will be impacted because they won't make as much money otherwise, but for society as a whole, this is best. Now, reform liberalism found its fullest expression in the work of Leonard Trelawney Hobhouse, born in 1864 and dies in 1929. He critically adapted liberalism to emerging social theories and political pressures. In his short but very wonderful book, Liberalism, which is published in 1911, and I urge you to read it, even if you are kind of a right-wing person, still a wonderful read. And in other writings, he firmly embedded individual liberty in society by emphasizing that man's nature not only consists of strong social characteristics, that is, as Socrates first said, man is a social animal, but that the development of this nature has to be aided by the assistance of society itself. In other words, humanity and society exist, he says, in symbiosis, Each needs the other to survive, develop, and prosper. And though human rights are essential to self-development, they are granted by society, which of course is simply made up of people, granted by society for its own self-interest. And these rights can be restricted or taken away to achieve societal self-development and progress. Thus, the state is essential in promoting individual and social welfare, as the state, which after all, he says, is the collective mass of people, not the individual, clearly knows what is best for both individual and society, whether some individuals agree with this or not. A very Rousseauian, Jean-Jacques Rousseau, Rousseauian idea. Therefore, the state is entitled to use compulsion if individuals are unable to do justice to the social conscience, for the state is an intelligent regulator of human behavior and socio-economic forces, while representing a common good that rises above sectional or ideological interest. And here's today's wrap-up quote. It is the function of the state to secure conditions upon which its citizens are able to win by their own efforts all that is necessary to a full civic efficiency. It is not for the state to feed, house, or clothe them. It is for the state to take care that the economic conditions are such that the normal man, who is not defective in mind or body or will, can, by useful labor, feed, house, and clothe himself and his family. The opportunities of work and the remuneration for work are determined by a complex mass of social forces which no individual, certainly no individual workman, can shape. They can be controlled, if at all, by the organized action of the community, and therefore by a just apportionment of responsibility. It is for the community to deal with them. Leonard Trelawney Hobhouse, 1911. So let me know what you think of this quote in the comment section below. Also, what you liked about this video, and what other historical topics or subjects you'd like to see me tackle in future videos. Be sure to click like, share, especially subscribe, as it will help me bring you more great videos just like this one. And make sure to click on that little bell thingy so you'll know when the next History Waits for No One video is posted. If you want to know more, there are recommended studies on this topic in the description below, along with other ways to connect with me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the past.